Love's for beginners, ain't no winners. It slips through your fingers, I ain't telling no lies. So F all the drama, F the karma. Just do what you wanna, promise you got time. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's mama, yeah, treat yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Come get your future. Know you wanna, she'll never betray ya. She ain't telling no lies. So break the glass ceiling, find your meaning, make truth out of dreaming. Yeah, baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's mama, yeah, treat yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's mama, yeah, do yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life.
Question: did you get a chance to meet with the royal family? And if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one.
Happy Friday, everyone. We made it. We made it to the end of the week. Hope you are all well. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. We're almost at 13,000 subscribers. Just put them on the chat. Let me know that you can hear me, please. Can everyone hear me? Before we start, just a couple of things. So in yesterday's podcast, I said, I think I misheard what was said in the documentary about Tyler Perry's house. So I thought that he said that he had a stripper pole and tiger print when they got to the house. but I misheard what was actually said. He said, "Oh, they didn't know what to expect when they got to the house," because obviously they didn't really know Tyler Perry. So I think he was just joking around. So I do apologize for accusing Lily's godfather of having a stripper pole and a tiger print. There is no such thing in our godfather's house. So I just wanted to clear that up. And thank you everyone for correcting me. Right. Oh, we already have 2 in the chat, Valerie and Lauren. Hello, hello. And please do not feel shy. Please do come up on the stage if you would like to speak today. Right, we're going to get through a couple of things and then like headlines, what's been going on in the UK in reaction to all of this. Also, some other very important things that have been going on in the UK while Harry and Meghan are being used as a distraction. A couple more notes about the documentary series itself, and then we'll get to calls. All right, first and foremost, though, I want to remind us all of the positives in all of this, and that is this, right? Not just Harry and Meghan's personal success, but how they are using that personal success for good. We are building soup kitchens. You know, World Central Kitchen now, thanks to Archwell, has, I think, a kitchen in Puerto Rico. I think they have another one in the Dominican Republic, is it? And they were also helping out in Ukraine. Soup kitchens, definitely something that would have been useful to the UK if we hadn't chased away the biracial Duchess. But we've got that going on. We've got all of the charitable donations to, you know, other organizations like Girls Inc., Loveland, Euro Media, all of the organizations that you can see on the screen, and a lot of the other orgs that are not even listed here. So, and then on top of that, all of the stuff that us, the squaddies, do ourselves as a collective. So let's just remember that in all of this drama, and for all of the unnecessary drama that the British tabloid press and the royal family want to cause, we are still doing positive things. This is what we're focused on as the Sussex Squad community. And so let's try not to get too triggered by all of the noise, because it's actually just shameful that the tabloid press are choosing to continue to go on the attack instead of focusing on what matters. And what do we do in the squad? We focus on what matters. So I just wanted to say that. And I also just wanted to remind you to take some time away from all of this noise and live your best life too. As we saw Harry and Meghan doing in Montecito, doing yoga, doing meditation, gardening, live your best life too. It can get very heavy, I think, especially for those of us who can see parts of Meghan's experience in our own lives. It can get really heavy to constantly be in this space. And if you feel like you need to give yourself a break, do that. For reals, go outside and touch grass and go have a nice juicy sangria like the one in my hand in this picture, okay? So just a reminder. Right, let's get to some of the other news stories first. Ngozi Fulani and Suzanne Hussey. This situation. This might be actually the last time I even talk about this, because at this point I'm just like, I'm done with this. So Buckingham Palace released a statement today that Ngozi Fulani and Lady Suzanne Hussey had met. They didn't release any pictures, but it was just a statement. And the statement read this is from the Royal Communications Office. A meeting took place this morning on the 16th of December at Buckingham Palace between Miss Ngozi Fulani, founder of Sister Space, and Lady Suzanne Hussey to address the incident that took place at a palace reception last month. At this meeting, filled with warmth and understanding, Lady Suzanne offered her sincere apologies for the comments that were made and the distress caused to Miss Fulani. Lady Suzanne has pledged to deepen her awareness of the sensitivities involved and is grateful for the opportunity to learn more about the issues in this area. Miss Fulani who has unfairly received the most appalling torrent of abuse on social media and elsewhere, has accepted this apology and appreciates that no malice was intended. The royal households will continue to focus on inclusion and diversity with an enhanced program to work, which will extend knowledge and training programs, examining what can be learnt from Sister Space and ensuring these reach all members of the communities. At no point in this statement do they ask the press, who have actually been responsible for the majority of the abuse, to back off. I also think that it should have been for Miss Fulani to be the one to actually speak of this meeting, and for it not to be relayed like this, because this, to me, it does very much feel like, for them, this is just an issue that they want to make go away, and we're going to do that very robotic. Uh, so we're going to follow that very robotic royal way of dealing with incidences like this, and it's just kind of like word fluff on a page, but doesn't actually mean anything. I don't personally feel that it does. Like I've said before, I feel that there is nothing to be gained by being too closely associated with the royal households anymore, especially in light of what has happened to Harry and Meghan. Because you're apologizing to Miss Fulani, but you're not apologizing to Meghan, who suffered a miscarriage because of the press abuse, which was sanctioned by the palace. So that's that. We haven't heard from Miss Fulani herself. It's just a statement. So I'm assuming, I don't know if they've offered her more than just an apology behind the scenes, but she hasn't said anything, and I think for the palace, this is case closed. In slightly lighter news, though, Tyler Perry is set to work on a World War II movie called 6888 at Netflix. Also, the project centers on the only all-black all-female battalion in the Second World War. Perry penned the project called 6888, which is based on an article by Kevin M. Heimel, published in World War II History magazine by Sovereign Media. I had no idea that there was an all-black, all-female battalion in the Second World War. News to me. So sounds like a great story, and can't wait to watch it. And fantastic on Mr. Perry, who has just been a savior in the situation. You know, somebody made a joke earlier about Lily. You know, how can your great grandmother be the queen and your godfather be Tyler Perry? Like, wow. Like, imagine when she grows up and she's gonna be like, my great grandmother is the queen and my godfather is Medea. Like, wow. But no, really, jokes aside, Tyler Perry has been more than a friend to the Sussexes. He's been a savior. Because really, like, what would have happened if he hadn't extended a hand to this couple? You know? So, Tyler Perry, you are a friend to the squad forever. Also, fun fact, I found out that the gap between Britain and America is widening by 1.5 inches a year. Fantastic if you are a British prince trying to escape your brother, who's also a British prince and a traitor. What's so interesting is that, you know, Harry and Meghan moved out of Kensington Palace. They then moved to Frogmore Cottage. Kensington Palace was renovated at the cost of, I think it was £12 million of taxpayers' money. The idea being that William and Kate would live at Kensington Palace. That's why the British taxpayer spent £12 million on Kensington Palace. William and Kate then decide to move out and move to Adelaide Cottage, which is on the grounds of Windsor Castle, but not too far from Frogmore Cottage. So, I mean, I'm still suspicious as to why they had to move to Adelaide Cottage after we spent £12 million. Some people feel that they just wanted to intimidate Harry and Meghan because obviously Frogmore Cottage was theirs. I don't know if after all of this, if at all, Harry and Meghan go back to the UK, will they use Frogmore Cottage again after all of this? I mean, they did for the Jubilee, but now that William and Kate are on Adelaide Cottage, I don't know. I'd personally feel a little bit funny about that. A little bit too close for my liking. Right. There's that. Also, some press reaction from the Netflix documentary. This is the Times. Is it the Times or the Telegraph? One of the two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 articles. 5 whole articles. I would bet they probably only have 1 article about the nurses' strike, but they've got 5 articles about Harry and Meghan. Truth and peace. Harry and Meghan have declared all-out war on the royals. No, Miss Tominey. They have declared war on the British press. And Camilla Tominey, a friend of Prince Andrew, she is the one who, after the Together cookbook, which was written to help, fund the community space for the victims of Grenfell, and that was run by the women in that community, some of those, women being Muslim women, Camilla Tominey then writes an article trying to link those women to ISIS. A group of women that were just going about their business very innocently, doing the best for their communities, who are not linked to terrorism at all. Camilla Tominey then links them to ISIS. They then started receiving death threats because of that. They had to close their social media accounts for some time, and I think some of their social media accounts are actually still on private to this day. That is Camilla Tominey who's written that article on the screen right there. Harry and Meghan have declared all-out war on the palace. Sorry, on the royals, because she knows that the clock of karma is tick-tocking for her because of what she did. Other press reactions. Boy, this is the cover of the Sun and the Daily Mail, and don't forget that there is a court case pending that involves Harry, Elton John, other high-profile individuals, and this is what they decided to go with on the covers: the traitor and the dutiful. Dignity in the face of treachery. First of all, talk about dramatic. I mean, the traitor and the dutiful. Secondly, this makes me very, very uncomfortable because of the use of the children and the way in which royal children are used as a shield in these situations is just disgusting. It's one of the reasons clearly why Harry wanted to leave, because he did not want his children being used like this. FYI, the Cambridges arrived separately. Read into that what you want. And at what point what point do the readers of these tabloids look at this and just go, this is wrong? This is just completely wrong. And while William is using his friends in the press to have a tantrum, what's going ignored and what isn't being put on the covers and what should be being put on the covers is this. We had the biggest strike action of nurses in living memory, and instead of this being on the front cover of the papers, instead William rang up his friends because he wants to throw a tantrum and put this nonsense on the cover instead. That's what I call treachery to me. Not focusing on what matters, not focusing on the people that truly serve this country. You want to talk about service? I'm sorry, but it's not a bunch of royals who go around smiling and waving and wearing designer outfits and showing up to press calls. It's these people right here. And a lot of the nurses and public sector workers, they can't afford to heat their homes. A lot of them are using food banks. Now, I think I saw a statistic, something like 13 to 14%, 13 to 14% of NHS workers are now using food banks. And these are the same people whose taxpayer pennies then go to pay for the royals to live lavish lifestyles. And when I saw these covers, I just thought, you know what? I honestly think that for the tabloid reading public in this country, there is just really no hope. If they still don't understand the way in which the tabloids are used as propaganda, so that other things don't get put to the forefront, or what matters doesn't get put to the forefront. Because I do feel at many stages over the last few years that Meghan and Harry, particularly Meghan, have been used as a distraction. Right. I will go to your comments before we continue. And there's quite a lot of your comments, so I'm sorry I have to scroll down. Let's see. Yes, Tony, how do we know that meeting even took place? Legs, thank you so much for the super chat. There is a pic, but no recap. They went for PR and lied, let the victim be harassed online, have her charity investigated, and now a meeting takes place. Sounds like the victim was strong-armed. I think so too. I find it very fishy. I mean, in the first place, when they said that they had spoken to her after the incident took place, that was also a lie. The lie detector determined that was a lie. How do we know that this is the truth? And so much damage has already been done. Yes, Levy, they follow the same script every single time. All right, let's go down a bit. Mariam, they may need to stay at Frogmore for the security. Harry has much right to Windsor as William. He does. He does. Yeah, I guess for security, that's a good point. But would you want to stay there? I mean, I'd be so paranoid that they've probably mic'd the place up or something, like wired it up, and they're listening to conversations. I'd be paranoid. If William can tell his own communication secretary to leak against his sister-in-law, what will he not do? And you know what's so interesting? I was having a conversation with a girl earlier today, and she said that she was shocked but not surprised about the whole thing with William getting Jason off to brief against Meghan. When in fact, that has been public knowledge for almost a year. But because it was the Daily Mail that was involved in that case, and the tabloids are pretty much brother and sister to each other, that information was given a blackout. So there's a lot of people that just don't really know what's been going on, even though it's been in the public domain for some time. And if you don't care about Harry and Meghan as people, you really don't have to. But I think as a British citizen, you should absolutely care about press corruption. And what's happened with Harry and Meghan and the royal family is just one example of press corruption. The press in this country have been corrupt for a very, very long time. And there was a certain turning point where the tabloids took over and the tabloids became the news. And I just find it funny when people in this country say, oh, I don't read the tabloids. Honey, the Daily Mail, the Sun, even the Telegraph and the Times, ones that are meant to be more respectable, they employ the same journalists. So you are actually reading the tabloids and you are actually taking what they're writing as news. It's completely different in the US, who actually do have tabloids like US Weekly, People, TMZ, and they have their mainstream news that's considered more respectable. So there's a separation in the US. But the Daily Mail is regarded as news here. Tree for Dilly, we pay 150 million a year. What for? To walk a church service and have pictures taken at church. I want a refund. Yes. I have been a tax-paying citizen now for what, 5 or 6 years, and I pay what, 60p a year to the sovereign grant. I want my 60p a year for the last 6 years back. I want a refund. Because, honey, I'm not paying for this. Look at this. Yes, they did have the church service, and according to a body language expert, the royal family showed bonding and unity. How sweet. A family showing bonding and unity. The secondhand embarrassment that I feel for this headline. Look at Charles looking at the camera. And there you can see the hordes of people and crowds that were waiting outside for the Christmas Carol concert. But I'm trying to get through your comments because there's just so many. Correct me up, love. You said tabloids got paid for helping with Diana's demise, not monetary, but ways to make money. Yes, and I fully believe that the tabloids have not made that much money from the Diana years until Meghan came along, and that's why this hate train started, because it is just so incredibly profitable. I mean, the clicks and views on the hater channels are insane. People have bought second homes, a whole designer closet that they've always wanted off the back of hating Meghan. It is so outrageously profitable. I mean, look at Meghan Kelly. She had a show that failed. And what is she doing now? She's on YouTube making videos hating Meghan. Half of her videos are about hating Meghan. It's really sad how profitable it is. And unfortunately, it's going to continue until either people stop watching it or it just stops being profitable. So, I know that Christopher Boozy has been doing the best he can with Bot Sentinel and trying to lobby platforms to have a look at this and look at single purpose hater accounts specifically, because it's not about muzzling people's right to their opinion, but if you have a whole channel and a whole platform based on hating one person, you are potentially creating a situation where you could radicalize someone to do something. And people have already gone to jail for attempting to physically harm Harry and Meghan. One particular individual who wanted to hurt Harry for being what he called a race traitor for marrying Meghan. So it's not just sitting on a camera and thinking it's all very funny to hate on Meghan Markle because it gets you lots of views and makes you money. There are serious consequences to all of this. Right. Want to see if was there anything else I wanted to say before we carry on and I start letting people up to speak. No, I don't think there was. So I'm gonna start with the calls now. So I don't like to cut people off, but I am going to ask you to please be respectful of the time. I'm going to give you three minutes each today. I'm going to ask you to please be respectful of the time, or else I will bail you out and you'll hear this. And then you have to wrap up your point, please. Okay? So, Valerie, you are first, my dear. Hello.
Good afternoon. Good evening, rather. How are you?
Good evening. I'm great. Thank you. Yourself?
And not too bad. How's the judo going?
Oh, we are actually done for the Christmas period. And so, unfortunately, I won't be back until whenever I'm back in the UK. But it was a great last session. Thank you for asking.
Okay. I've written some points down because I don't want to overstep. Well, I had a look at 4, 5, and 6, and I was just completely shocked about what I saw. It was interesting to see that the Queen was smiling broadly at the reception. And I realized that she has been handled, especially when she was at the summit, when she sat quietly where where William was shouting and screaming,
Outing.
and his father was saying
Yes.
unkind things, and that was terrible. And I also realized that when that was happening, Prince Philip was in the room and he went out, and it is alleged to him saying, you're treating the boy very badly. And from then he declined because the summit was in January, and the following June, I think he died. Also, the Queen's diary, how they filled up the Queen's diary when he said that she wanted to see them, and then they filled up the Queen's diary, and then only way she was able to see them, she had to see them in secret, so she had to send William away so that she was able to see them in secret. I was also shocked at Nottingham Cottage, the size of that,
Yeah.
the room. My house in Hammersmith had bigger rooms than that. I couldn't believe it.
Like
Could not
literally the
believe
ghetto. Meghan pulled Harry out of the ghetto.
it. I could not believe that. Lord. I also think that the Queen was abused. What was I also feel that I think the problem with the royal family, particularly, and the media, I don't think the royal family. I think what's I've come to the conclusion is that the media own the royal family. That's what it is. They
Yeah,
have.
because and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Valerie, and I will give you a longer time to speak, but just because of what you've said, it's made me think of something. I keep on wondering where the hell is the British government in all of this? Because we're told that we live in a constitutional monarchy, and the
Yeah.
monarchy is to step in when the British government are acting a fool, and they have been acting a fool for the last 10 years. So have the government just decided, like, what the hell ever, just let them get on with it, because the royals are a mess. And is no one going to step in, especially where the press and the royals are concerned? But then there's this kind of like weird revolving door happening, between the three of them. So I'm just thinking, like where's the government's position in all of this? Do they have one?
No, I don't think
What do you
so,
think about that?
because I think what's happened, if you look at the media, like for instance, if you look at the Russian, the Telegraph, and all those things, they are billionaires. They own the government. Basically what the policies we have is not for the US, for the British citizen. The policies we have is for the billionaires. That's why they had Brexit. That's why, do you remember when Boris Johnson went to he was a foreign secretary at the time, and do you remember when he went to Italy, and he went to that party,
Yeah.
and he met Eugenie Igerov, and he's in the House of Lords. His dad was an HKG member, so there is no separation. And also another thing too, what the issue is. Do you remember as when we were in the EU, there was a lot of communication with Europe, and people were traveling up and down and doing what they wanted to do. They basically want to isolate so that they can be kings, and that's the issue. So they have to show, they want to show white supremacy as it is. They want to show, because remember the argument is always, they always have this issue with London and the big cities, particularly in London. They always complain about London because London is one of the most diverse cities, and they're very angry about it. So when Harry, he go marry a mixed race person, I mean, it's, you think about it, people get married to mixed race women every day,
Sorry, Valerie,
but because
you're
he's,
breaking up a bit. I don't know if it's for me or
I'll
if
say,
everyone can
sorry,
hear it breaking up.
can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Okay, Lightside is saying she sounds okay. Can everyone hear Valerie properly? Because it might just be me. Okay, I think you're okay. It might just be me. Sorry, carry on.
Yes, I said that the media billionaires are right-wing press. They're right-wing press. So what they do, they corner the government, all our social services, they corner it. That's why even the Met Police, I mean, you've got the case even with Daniel Morgan, 35 years, you still can't find who killed him. 8 years later, Stephen Lawrence, and now the Met Police has been put in under special measures. So what it is a takeover of the billionaire right-wing media billionaires. So that's why what they want to show is this family of white married, like, even if you don't like the wife, you have this family. And when he went, and because Harry said he's lived, he's traveled, he married somebody like Meghan, that is why there's this rage and anger.
Yeah. Are you still there, Valerie?
Yes, I'm still here, because I don't know if my 2 minutes are, I just think. So this rage, this rage and anger. And that's why when she came and they started, what they do this hazing thing. It's like a, did you ever read this? Did you ever read Tom Brown's School Days? Tom Brown's School Days. You remember Harry Flashman? How they do this flagging hazing system. They do that,
Oh, yeah,
and what he
basically
said.
to humiliate you, and yeah.
Yes, and what he did, because he said no, I'm not doing it. That's why, if you listen to what they say, that what he said is that, well, we all go through it, and that's what a lot of people say. We all go through it. I've noticed that. Why can't it? Because he said no. That is what the rage is. And what he did, he took his wife out and they left. And that's what they can't get over, the fact he took his wife out and left. That is why they're angry.
Yeah, I mean, really and truly, there just should not be this much outrage. It's Fleet Street that want to create this environment of outrage, because the average person right now is just trying to get along. But then you've got headlines like this instead of focusing on what matters. But thank you so much, Valerie, as always.
Thank you. You're welcome.
No worries. All right, Lauren, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me. Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna pull up my notes. Okay. I agree with a lot of what the previous caller said and also what you said. And there's just an absolute overblowing of all of this because I think most people who watched it and have level-headed perspectives, the average level-headed person is going to look at the doc and see, two human people telling their truth without any, need to add sauce on this dish. Like this is a well-seasoned, normal, flavorful dish. But I think when you grow up with boiled chicken and no flavor, even the smallest bit of truth feels like spice, to extend a metaphor.
Mm.
Um, I also think that, one of the things that really struck me, and I mean, I think this is already clearly spoilers, but in that last episode, spoilers, when he is talking about the way his brother yelled at him and that reaction, I mean, it was so clear to me that, and this is my opinion, that a lot of these ignorant statements, a lot of this kind of um, brash nonsense, and potentially R word nonsense is likely
Mm.
coming from William. I think C3 has enough class to know how to disguise certain things. I also just think he's been a little bit more if excuse me, if the crown is anything to go by, I imagine that C3, at least with the experience of being bullied at his school that he went to, has the smallest inkling that life might not center around him. And when I say small, I mean mote size, like a dust grain blowing in the wind, mote size. But it's clear to me that William has not had anybody, no backstop, no mother with a
No.
stern lip out in public where you know that if you don't shut up and you go home, it's a completely different situation. There was nothing to give him balance. And to hear the idea that Harry was in that position where he's basically fighting for his wife's, mental health, his mental health, talking to his family, and he's receiving not only no love but such, like, yelling at someone in a situation like that is kind of violent. I don't want to accuse him of violence, and that's not what I'm trying to say, but I think you all get my point. There's something violent in that, and I don't imagine he was using a very, I have rage, but my words are still softened. I think he was like, there are some sibling situations where people are just nasty to each other, and I feel like Harry has been the glue making them look like something. Beyond that,
Yeah.
I would say Tyler Perry is the GOAT. We already knew this, but I love the familiarity. I love the big brotherliness. I love the humor. He is a fairy godfather, and I think he deserves every exciting thing that happens to him. And frankly, Harry and Meghan are smart because who doesn't want, a successful billionaire man of color to have their child's back? Like, heck yeah, you'd pick him. Um, so I say it's shrewd, but I'm also sure it's done with warmth and appreciation for the safe harbor he gave them. I don't think it's just like a
Yeah.
calculating thing.
Yeah.
Next, it's very clear to me the queen was being handled at the end of her life, just the way that Harry described when she was saying, "Oh, my diary is full." I didn't get the sense that she felt she was lying. I think she believed these people saying this to her, and that's
Mm.
sad. It's sad that she trusted people who would so get in between her family and herself, and I'm grateful for whatever it was that allowed them to meet the queen, and for Lily to meet the queen. And I do
Yeah,
agree with
I wanna know, like, who in the palace actually made that happen, or how did that happen? I wanna know the story of that.
Mhm. I mean, I remember someone was floating the idea that it was Eugenie, and
Mm.
I wouldn't be surprised from just how friendly and that kind of the way that they seem to get together without many people knowing. It seems like she probably has a similar relationship or had a similar relationship with the queen, so she might have been, in and through there.
Mm.
But yeah. And Nottingham Cottage, I knew it was small from the aerial photos. Um, just being familiar with real estate, but, I wonder how he could handle living somewhere where he could not stand upright and walk to the farthest wall. That, the thing I'll say about that, and this is my, like, final point, and please tell me what you think on this, but, um, I think by discarding Harry and treating him as a spare the way they did, the whole institution didn't realize they had prepared him for a life beyond them,
Yes.
because he
100%, I
wasn't.
agree with that.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Because
like,
I think they probably made it very clear from the time that he was young that you don't really mean
mhm.
anything, so he probably thought, "Okay, well, then I'm gonna make my own somehow."
Mhm. Exactly. And I think it's why too, when he went to Africa, he could be so comfortable in a tent. I mean, you know, an old house, because those houses are old, they're drafty, they've got leaks, you know. The fact that Harry was out there watering the lawn and, fixing pipes, I'm sure he's had to do that on Nottingham Cottage more than once because I imagine as the spare, even when it came to fixes on his house, he was probably least considered and last, helped. So he probably had to duct tape a few things himself. Um, which is depressing when you think of the position, and I mean, it's the epitome of a gilded cage, and
Yeah.
I wanna
It's not
know,
even, it wasn't even gilded. That's the thing. It was just the cage.
it was a rusty cage. It was a rusty cage, and I wanna know, what do
Uh,
you think about the fact that he he stayed for so long? Because seeing the shoes on the floor, seeing the it just I don't know
mm.
how he stayed as long as he did, so I'm just wondering, do you think was it just love for family? Was it not having a vision for anything else? Like, what do you think it was why he did that
I
or
think
could
he was just
endure?
waiting. I think he was just waiting for the right moment. Because if you are gonna break away from a 2,000-year-old institution with MI5 at its disposal, you
Mhm,
don't just get up and leave. You need a
mhm,
plan. And I
mhm,
think when he met Meghan, it was like, okay, this is the final part of the plan. Like, yeah,
mhm.
he's obviously very much in love with her, but let's be honest, Harry would not be able to do this with some aristo girl who was just
No.
brought up to be a rich man's wife. He
No,
would have never
because
been
she'd
able to
sit
do
there
this
half the
with that
time
family.
confused as to, like, what to do with her fingers because her staff was doing it.
Yeah.
No shade.
Anyway, thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you, Anne.
Alright. If you're trying to get into the live stream, just give it like maybe until the next couple of callers because I'm only allowed 10 people backstage at a time. Right, I'm gonna add Petal. Hi, Petal.
Hi, Anne. How are you? Hi,
How
squatties.
how are you? I'm so happy to have you on.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. Finally, I have a moment to come on your show. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. We all do.
Oh my gosh, I love you so much. I'm so happy to catch you. Most times I catch you on the replay.
But no, how are you feeling this week? How are you feeling about, now that we've seen the final 3 episodes?
Oh my goodness. It's so wild. It's so funny because I was doing the podcast yesterday. I was like, I didn't sleep the whole night. I slept last night for the first time. I think I was just so anxious because, it's like,
Yeah.
for some reason, I'm like, the idea that even if I slept past 3 a.m., that I could still watch it even if I woke up at 8. But for some reason, I just, the thought of just missing 3 o'clock, it was just like, Petal, even if you woke up later, you could still watch it. It's there. But it's just like, I don't know
You just
why.
like
It's like
had
my
to watch
body,
it when it came out.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's just so the anxiety of waking up at 3. I stayed up the whole time and I didn't go back to sleep until like 11 o'clock last night. So, but I just, I think I feel a sense of relief. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just like, because and all our squatties know this. It's like we've been praying for so long just to, and we just imagine them under a tree, and that's the only image I could come up with. That imagine them just being peaceful under a tree in Montecito, and then to see all those blanks filled in of all the wonderful things, whether they're on a slide or they're pushing their baby up, and Archie trying to run up a hill, or they're on the beach, and it's just like I felt like they just filled in all those gaps. That there are more things that
Mm.
they're doing other than just hanging out under a tree sipping wine or something. And I just felt such a sense of relief for them. And I'm like, that's my prayer for them, that love that we saw on film. And again, I always preference things with like, okay, that's what they show us, you know what I mean? And you never know, you know what I mean? if whatever else go on in people's life other than what they show us. But I just feel like I just want that for them, that is what they showed us is exactly what everything is, and that they are just peaceful. And life, it has struggles, but I'm just like, it's what we prayed for them. And I just feel a sense of relief that at least I know that they're experiencing some of that. So that's my takeaway. My big takeaway was like, whew, thank God. You know?
But we
But
called it, didn't we? The squad called so much of this a long time ago.
oh my gosh. Were you just screaming when they just outed Jason Kanoff and Prince William's
Yeah.
relationship?
Yeah. And Meghan's just like, oh, I can't, is your brother, it's your brother. I'm not going to say anything about your brother, but I can't.
I know. And the funny thing is too, and I mean, I don't know if you felt this. There's so much stuff that they didn't talk about. There's so
yeah, of
many
course.
things. I'm like, oh my gosh, if they wanted to add so many things to even make the point even more. I mean, I was thinking of all the times, like, remember when they were at can we just talk about Nottingham Cottage for a minute? Oh my God.
The ghetto,
Were you shocked?
the hood.
I know. It's like somebody posted the straight out of Nottingham Cottage. I was just like, oh my gosh. I wasn't ready for that. I have to say I wasn't ready. Harry doesn't even have a closet. And someone corrected me yesterday on my broadcast. They said, like, and I don't know if that's your experience as well, they said that most homes in the UK don't have like a built-in closet or something. I don't know if that was, how true that is for a lot of places.
It's usually something that you have to build in. You have to build, like walk-in closets, built-in closets, not a thing here. You've got to have them fitted.
Wow. I didn't know that until yesterday. So I was being like, oh my gosh, he doesn't have a closet. And so and I was just like, what? So again, but I even if I didn't expect this, I'm literally looking at the picture and it's just like, oh my gosh. So that was shocking. But
it's so mad because like my old bedroom was actually bigger than this. I mean, this doesn't even look like it has a window.
It doesn't. And
it's like a basement room.
Oh my gosh. And I think the colors too, because I'm very sensitive to colors. It has like that dingy off-white yellowy kind of color that I would literally go mad in. It would drive me up the wall to look at that. But back to what I was saying. Back to what I was saying is like the things that they could have added. Like, you remember when they I think Meghan was pregnant and they had moved out into the country, I guess, to just get away from Kensington Palace. And they, somebody, and I am assuming somebody at Kensington Palace, outed where they are. And paparazzi, they flew a helicopter over where they were and took photos in their bedroom. And Harry and Meghan sued them and won. I mean, if they were, it was just like all of that stuff, even when they were in LA, when they were at Tyler Perry's house, they flew drones over there and took photos of Archie and Doria outside playing. And Harry, and obviously, they sued and won again. Because they had posted that photos in Europe somewhere, I think at France or Germany or something like that.
Yeah, it was a German publication.
Yeah, and so I'm like thinking all of those things. And even when they were in Vancouver, when they did those long lens photography, and I think according to Vancouver laws, they were able to sue. And I think they won that as well. And so all of those stuff, none of that was in there. And so I was like, if they really wanted to I mean, I was even thinking, even though you don't want to give, say, Piers Morgan, any kind of anything, but if they wanted to, remember that article where they, that girl did a forensic on how many articles that this man has written, and also how many tweets. I mean, if they really wanted to go at it and do a forensic as what the British, I mean, there is, because that's kind of how my mind works. I would have done a number on that.
But with Piers Morgan, I think the only way they want to address him formally is in a court of law where he could potentially be thrown in the slammer. And there are still questions over his involvement in the phone hacking scandal, and also the alleged theft of letters from Princess
Mhm.
Diana, and a lot of people forget
Right.
how obsessed Piers Morgan was with Diana, as obsessed as he is now with Meghan.
Wow, so funny. I knew that he had some kind of involvement with hacking her. I never really researched his obsession with Diana. I mean, I know of, like, him being involved in the hacking case with say, what is it, her name, Molly, the teenager that died, and he hacked her
Millie
phone,
Dowler.
Millie Dowler. Yeah, there you go. And and again, with the officers, where he did that fake thing where he claimed that they were
The
part.
fake photos, the soldiers
Yeah,
in Iraq, yeah,
exactly.
and then it
Yeah,
came out that they were fake. Yeah,
yeah. And he even Diana's brother's
yeah,
wife, he really invaded her privacy, and her and Naomi Campbell. I mean, this man has been doing this stuff for so long, and I don't understand how it's like he's failing up, and he's being more gross, and he
yes,
keeps advancing, and I don't understand, like, why this is happening. I mean, he signed, what is it, a $50 million contract with Rupert
mm,
Murdoch. That's why he's on where he is. He's all over the US, Australia, whatever. And I don't
mm,
understand why actions haven't been taken to get him off the air. I mean, this guy has been he's been abusing anything, using a press pass, basically, and
yeah,
abusing his way straight through, and nobody has done anything.
yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what comes up in this upcoming court case. But thank you so much for coming up, Petal. I really appreciate it.
You're
And Petal,
welcome.
for those of you who don't know, Petal is the voice behind Facts and Two Cents. So go and subscribe to their channel, please, and go and check them out.
Thank you so much for having me on. Bye,
No
guys.
worries. Thank you, Petal. Bye bye. All right. So next, I'm gonna go to Lightside.
Hey, Anne. How are you doing?
Hey, great, thanks. You?
I am exhausted. I just got back from my personal
The
training session.
training?
So, yeah, so I apologize. So, like, if I ever come on and I seem like I don't remember names or anything, it's likely that I just got back from getting my butt kicked. So I apologize. Let me
No worries.
Yeah, I hope everyone's doing okay today. I'm gonna fly through a couple of my bullets, and follow up to one of the points that you made earlier on the call. So the first thing I want to say is it seems like there's large dissonance between the reality of the state of the UK and what or how the royal family's allowances or how they're viewed or managed. Because I've seen so many people on Twitter from the UK, really voicing their outrage for the current state of the country, and I am finding it really hard, and I don't understand it because I'm not living in the UK. I don't fully understand the culture for how you could still have on one side a royal family that is wealthy, more than wealthy, but you have challenges, economic situations that are going on where the people are suffering the way they are right now. It's mind blowing to me. So I just I got to put that out there. And I feel for everyone that has going through a heating crisis right now because I know it's winter there.
Mm.
Um, so for volume 2, I felt like Harry and Meghan with the series, to round everything out, that they pretty much said the quiet parts out loud without saying
Oh,
the quiet part out loud. And what I mean by that is you see names mentioned. He mentioned Knopf, he mentioned William, some of the things that give you the impression that things just are not peachy with them, regardless of
yes.
what you may think in the media, right? So, we talked a lot about this, or what are they going to name names? How much are they going to say? Maybe speculation if Charles Camilla was going to come in. We didn't hear anything really about Charles or Camilla. We heard about Charles in the
Hmm.
context of that conversation for which they outed Meghan in, but William was there, the Queen was there, maybe a few other royals were there. But Charles came out of this pretty much unscathed. What
Yes.
the attention and everything was really focused on the Cambridges, the House of Kensington, which I think says a lot a lot. And I'm just going to leave that there because I think it's really clear right now kind of what has been happening over the couple of years, maybe some of the things that kind of came up, as you can see from watching the documentary, the statement that, you know, Harry said, well, I didn't give permission to put my name on that statement that came out with William. You know, I knew nothing about it. No one asked
Yeah.
me if it was okay to do that. You know, makes you wonder what else they did with Harry's name or backing behind it that was published in the media to make it look like there was a cohesive front when they really didn't have a part in it. I'm gonna say the phone message that was shown to Meghan, like that was really, I'm like, oh, I wish I could see what was going on. I'm really curious about that. Like I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like,
Oh, you
what did
mean
this
do you mean
go
the
ahead?
William's message
Yes.
to
Yeah.
Harry? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was there's something there. But
Mm.
again, those are receipts. And like Petal said, like earlier when she was speaking with you, that there are a lot of things that they did not talk about or they didn't show in the docu-series. I was waiting for them to talk about the incident when they went to the African country and they had the fire where Archie was in the room. I thought that would have been
Mm.
something that was probably touched on a little bit too. And there's so many other things that he didn't really highlight. And I asked myself, why is it? And again, there's a focus for this docu-series, and it's not really to attack the queen, it's not really to attack Charles or Camilla, not like they're innocent. I think it's geared towards William and his people. I strongly believe that after
Yeah.
watching
William and
this.
the press.
And the press,
Yeah, and the
100%. The
press
press,
also.
yeah, they're two of they're one and the same to me, you know, because they're working together behind the scenes. And I saw someone on social media say, I'm sorry, I apologize, my brain. I saw statements by UK royalists or royal commentators saying that William currently is not making a statement. The royal family is not making a statement. They're gonna remain quiet, right? And it makes it look like they're
Mm.
taking the higher road, but they may not directly be saying anything, but they may be speaking through the tabloid media. And I want people to kind of
Yeah, but
still
yeah, they
remember
are.
that. Exactly.
Yes.
So they're still talking. It's just they're playing innocent up front, you know? Okay, let me see. Queen's funeral. I want to jump back in time a little bit, and I want you guys to remember when we saw Meghan and Harry for that 1 month period. I'm gonna call it a whole month, even though it was 2 weeks. It felt like a month. And we saw Kate, William, Harry, and Meghan in black, and they call them the Fabulous Four, have reunited again for the Queen's walkabout, right? To meet with people of the UK. And I remember a lot of squatties had said they felt like Meghan was nervous. You could see how nervous she was. And thinking
During
back
that
to that,
walkabout. Yeah.
yes. And I thought that the tension was maybe with Kate, but now knowing what we know about William and his part with Knopf and the fact that Knopf has to take orders from him, I really feel like they knew at that time the filming had been done for the docu-series. This was in September that occurred, I believe. The filming had been completed in August. Harry and Meghan knew everything. They had all the
Yes.
receipts and everything. They knew who the villains were behind the scenes, and I think they knew who William really was, and that had to have been a really uncomfortable situation for them to kind of put a face on and kind of say, okay, for the sake of the cameras and the situation that we're in right now, that it is the queen's death, that we need to kind of like just get through this. But
Oh, I
okay,
want to
so
know what was said in that car ride from the house
yes,
to the walkabout and then back
right.
again.
Yeah, because my impression of William, and I'm not a psychiatrist, I studied, you know, psychology in school, but I am not claiming that I know anything about that. I feel like William is the type of person that is a completely different person behind the scenes when the camera's off. But when you see him like in the public, he puts on this facade as if he is a nice person that is there for the Commonwealth or for the royal family, and he's going to do everything that he should, you know, that he's obliged to do. So he's going to follow the rules and be polite and everything in front of the cameras, but behind the scenes, as we found out, with the yelling and everything when the cameras are off, I think that's kind of more of who he is, his
Yes.
real personality. which is a scary thing to think about because you're talking
Incandescent
about
with Ray.
exactly, and I think he's more conniving and more, plotting behind the scenes than what we've seen in the public. So let me see if I got everything. Okay. In regards to the media outlets here in the United States, for squatties that are here that are in the United States, I've noticed that some people are saying, "Oh, the docu-series was boring," blah blah blah. I'm wondering if they were expecting a little more drama, almost like a Kardashian level type of drama, and that is why they were expecting all these things to kind of come out in a documentary. Maybe they were going to name more names and like put more garbage out
Well,
there or mudslinging.
That's how the UK press was spinning it. They were trying to spin it like it would be some, dramatic Kardashian-esque reality TV show, and we all knew in the squad that was never what it was going to be.
Right. We knew that. We even said amongst us that we didn't really think they were going to name hard names. We understood that because I think Harry and Meghan are smart. They're not going to just like literally cut off the bridge that they're standing on. There's still some connection there, and they have to be very strategic and smart about how much information they put out and when. But I'm specifically thinking about The View, and I don't watch The View, but because they really are just more trash nowadays. But I've seen them and a couple other stations say, "Oh, there's no interest there or whatever," and I really feel like a lot of these media sources were expecting this big drama, this big blow up, this big reveal. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't there, but we get to see the story from these two's perspective, and I think that's really important to have, because this whole time the UK media has been putting their stuff out there and telling their stories from their perspective and lying and making everything up. So I think there's value here, and I thought that was just really kind of like disappointing to see that because I haven't seen one source that actually have stepped up and said, hey, even though it wasn't as dramatic, I think there's some good stuff there. Some final
Yeah.
comments really quickly on Boozy. So he actually published a report from Bot Sentinel. It was the report he was referencing in the docu-series. I would really suggest squaddies, if you have a moment, to pull it up. I think he posted it on his social media on Twitter. I scanned through it a little bit.
Actually, when that report first came out, I think I did. I actually went through it page by page. I don't know if you were following back then,
He did another
but
one
we
today. Is it the
actually
one from
did.
today?
Oh, is this a new
Yeah.
one?
Yes. He I
Oh,
think he
okay,
has it
that's
in parts, and I
interesting.
think yeah, there's another one that he did today that I was taking a look at, and I'm like, I'm gonna need the weekend because I actually thought it was gonna be like a 5-page summary. It's extremely detailed and just really covered the amount of money that regular YouTubers were able to make just off of the hate from Meghan and the publication and the lies, and how just very passive YouTube has been in general, like literally going against their rules and regulation for hate channels and allowing these stations to kind of remain up for that period of time. There's
Wow.
definitely something there. Finally, to follow up to your comment regarding Fleet Street, and I'm going to say that Fleet Street, and I think you said something like Fleet Street shouldn't care as much. Um, but I think there is another layer there that is of the elite society, the aristocrats, the top 1%. We see it here in the United States that live amongst us. People with status like that, they think differently. They're in a completely different bubble. And there's a certain
Yeah.
small network of these individuals that don't see things the same way as we do. The things that they care about or should care about are not the same as us, and the values that they put on certain things are not the same as us, as much as we really want to think that. So I think there's something there too for, why is there so much like outrage when it comes to some stuff with them? All they care about is their status and their money and maintaining that status quo amongst the people that they want to let in. It's something that we saw with Meghan, because she even said, I tried so hard. I really did. She broke down crying. And I feel like she's a type A personality, kind of like me, where that you put everything into something, and when it fails, you almost internalize it and say, wow, I really did bad at this, when it's really not something that you should be taking on.
No, yeah.
So I think that it wouldn't have mattered with her because there is a status quo, there is a level of elitism, an elite society that she could never fit in because she doesn't fit the prototype. And I think that's
Yes.
hard for someone to process, you know, to say, I did everything, I tried, I was nice, I smiled, I dressed appropriately, I tried speaking properly, I was respectful, I studied, I learned the anthem. Why can't you guys accept me? You know, what else can I do? You know, and at some point you have to like
There was nothing.
just say, yeah, you have to stop because it'll eat you up. You know, and I think we saw a little bit of that feeding into some of the mental stuff that she was struggling with that she mentioned. Um, I know I'm going over, so I'm really gonna shut up and like get off. But I just wanted to state that I'm not like a Debbie Downer or someone that likes to think negatively, even though I'm aware of the dangers and stuff. I like to think more positively and say, okay, we are gonna, you know, hope and pray that things go really well. I hope that for Harry and Meghan. I, however, think they've set off two major bombs, one in the royal family and the other with the media, the UK media at that, because they're very different. Like someone say than the ones in the United States. You have a tabloid, or I'm sorry, you have a story about J-Lo and Ben Affleck one week, something else might come up and they forget them until the next time they need to talk about them. With the UK, I think they're stuck on them and they stay on them. And so
Yeah.
I pray that they maintain protection and they, for their family's sake and for their sake, just keep their eyes open. And, you know, because I just, I
Watch
don't
the back.
fully, yeah, because I think they're powerhouses. I think there's a lot of money that goes into, as you state, those big sources like the Daily Fail, the Sun, you know, whatever else I can't think of, and also the royal, those roots. And I think we can't underestimate the levels that they will go to save face. And with that, I will
Yeah.
close. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much, Lightside. No worries. All right. Denise Davis, I've been waiting patiently. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
How are you?
Oh, okay. I'm good, and yourself? I just wanted to say hello to you and the squatties. Wishing you a happy, safe, and warm holiday. Um,
Thank
um,
you.
my comment about the watching the documentary, docu-series rather, was I was just like, oh my God, Harry just completely just put his brother on blast, which was ultimately really necessary. And I think it was more so important for him to do it versus Meghan saying something. And
Yeah.
that part, I was just so glad it finally just came out. The other thing I wanted to mention is about the Queen and how it seems like everyone else is running her, but she's just a figure there. And I think we put a lot too much into saying, well, why didn't the Queen say this and say that? There's forces behind the Queen that she's so documented. I mean, she's so indoctrined into you know, the whole structure that whatever they say, this is how you should do it. She just flows that way, regardless if it actually hurts her family. She doesn't put her family first. So, and I feel so bad for Harry when he was saying that his grandmother was sitting there and his brother was yelling at him. You know, you never yelled or raised your voice with my grandmother. That was just not tolerated. You had to carry yourself a certain way. That's why I think his head is bigger than what anyone else's. He thinks he's above everyone, and it's just it's really crazy. So, and I really felt bad for him, but I'm glad that they finally got their story out. um I'm waiting. I know I don't hear a lot of people talk about this, but they always drop the story about his father, Prince Charles, not being his father because he looks like this other person. And I think the reason they keep that story running is because it kind of puts Harry in check. And they're not going to stop and say, oh, that's not true, because there's no way you can convince me that someone that's born in that royal bloodline, they don't verify that this is actually Prince Charles' son. There's no
Yeah.
way you can convince me of that. And that's basically all I wanted to say. I just wish you guys all the best. I'm praying for the Sussex and their family, because they really need it. And I really think in my heart that they needed to leave the royal family. this was something that was just predestined for them. He had to come out of that because what's going to come down and happen to them is going to be astronomical. And I'm not, a fortune teller or anything, but you can see the writing on the wall that it's just going to be horrible. And I'm glad they're not going to be in the midst of it. So they can't blame anything on those two. And that's all I had to say.
All right. Thank you so much, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. CN Adams.
Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, how are
No,
you?
actually, oh, sorry. Sorry, CN Adams. Before you continue, I want to say hello thank you to Alan Venon for your 2 super chats. Much appreciated. You said, is it just me or did anyone else feel sorry for Prince Harry when he was talking about Frogmore Cottage? And the way they weaponized Frogmore Cottage against the Sussexes is, oh, that's a whole other talk in itself. Given that actually paid the 2 million back, and we spent 12 million on Kensington Palace, and Kate and William don't even live there. What a waste of money. But CN Williams, sorry, you can go ahead now.
Hi. I hope everybody's doing well, and I just wanted to call in to say that, my whole feeling from watching it, I felt the same as like the last few callers that were before me, that Harry said a lot without saying anything at all, and I think that his brother is probably a real, what, behind those scenes. I mean, if I'm looking at everybody, William until recently has kind of had a golden time in the press. He's always like Diana's son, that's protecting his brother. I mean, that's the stuff we always thought here in America. That he was taking care of his brother and they were taking care of each other and they were so close, and, looking out for each other because their mother had died in this way. But I'm starting to see that he probably, knowing he's going to be king one day, and his father had such a reputation with what was going on with Camilla, and him and Diana, before Diana died. I just think he, like they said, he just thinks he's better and even the queen. And once, because I take care of seniors, and there's something I wanted to say about the queen I haven't heard anybody say, and even Prince Philip. When you get older and your body stops functioning the way it used to, and you aren't able to do things that you used to be able to do, you become very vulnerable and very fearful because the people around you are responsible for taking care of you. So you
Yes.
pull back a lot. And I'm sure you've heard that. Like you'll hear people say, my parents were so strict, but they're like so sweet with my kids, like with the grandkids. They're like so different. They're not half as strict, and that's what that is. You're getting older and you have to depend on other people. You have to depend on your family. And I thought that was, watching the documentary made me think about that statement Harry made on the Today Show when he said, I just
Yes.
really hope the right people are around my grandmother and taking good care
Yes.
of her.
And then the way the British press attacked over.
Hello? Didn't hear you.
Hello?
Hello? Are you there?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can hear you now. I didn't hear what you said. You cut out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. And I said the way that the British press threw a tantrum about simply a grandson saying, "Well, I hope people are looking after my grandmother." And given that we know that William and courtiers brief to the press regularly, I feel that it was actually them complaining and explaining through the press in response to what Harry said.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because I get the feeling that whatever Elizabeth was, like maybe Prince Philip was a bit of a heavy. Like if he might be the person to catch you in the hallway. You know what I mean? If you weren't doing the right thing or something. And he got older and then he died. So then, the queen is older. She doesn't have that same, protection or power she used to have. And I feel that William or the courtiers are going can get away with just about whatever they want at that point. And Charles, I just think I think Charles does what he always does, which is nothing. I think that's it. I think he
Mm,
knows those boys are fighting. I think he knows there's a bunch of crap going on, but he gets to sit in the big chair now, and that's all he's there to do. I just
yeah.
think that's it with him. I don't think he has anything further than that. This is what I was meant to do was sit here in this chair, and that's what I'm going to do. And they're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll pull their titles. I really don't. I don't think he'll pull their titles. They're going to have to pull them
Well,
out eventually and try to use them
I'd like to
to
know.
breathe some more life back into that place. But I don't think they'll go back. I think this was their final note because they've proven that they could leave and that they could make money. And they've been pretty quiet, like I hear on, I watch all you guys and, like, even Barron says there's no leaks in Montecito. They've had a taste of that life and they can go back to it whenever they want. And so I don't think that
Well,
they're interested.
I'd like to know why after they offered to have their titles removed, they were, well, what were they told, like, no, you have to keep them, or what happened there? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then and then like I forget the name of the caller. Please forgive me, but she made a lot of points I was thinking about because there were like a lot of Easter eggs in that documentary for me too. Like they didn't say anything about what happened to the dog, but all the pictures of Guy just about in those first couple of episodes were with of him with the broken leg,
Yeah, the leg's
and
broken. Yeah,
Harry made some sort of statement like, "Oh, Guy was my hostage." So she had to come back. Like they said little things. There were like little digs they took. They said things without saying things. And I thought the whole situation with
yeah,
Meghan and what was that, her friend from Archwell, when they were like really giving it to Harry, she's like, that's your brother. Why is he able to do this to her? And they
yeah.
were having that whole situation. And you see Meghan just being really upset. But that plays as well with the walkabout that Lauren, that's her name, I'm sorry, that Lauren was speaking about. Meghan did look very
Mhm.
fearful, but did you also see that William was making an exaggerated effort to acknowledge Meghan
Megan, yes. When they got out of the car, it's
out
like
of the
he was,
car,
trying to like put his
bent
hand
over
over,
to
and you can
talk
see
to
Megan
her?
was
Yeah, he's
hesitating. Yeah,
doing all this crap. And then I noticed Kate's behavior. She's kind of off to the side all the way, but she's kind of looking at him like, excuse my language, like, are you freaking serious? To me, she was just kind of looking at him like, are you for real? Are you for real?
uh,
Okay, because I was kind of chilling with your brother, and you got me caught up in this crap, and now you're holding her hand, and you're high fiving, and you're over here checking her out. Like, are you for real? They cussing me out in the paper every other day. But I think he's capable of that because even with his wife, he's like, "You're
yeah,
here because I chose you. So whatever
mm,
happens, you just deal with it. That's your job." And I see that coming from William a lot more than I did before. I'll say that.
I
But
mean,
that's
if
just my
if
2 cents.
yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Ian Adams.
And thank you, Duchess. I love your show. I've been working a lot lately, and it's been great to catch up on your videos while I'm catching up on work. Good luck to
Oh,
you, and
thank
I
you
hope
so
you do
much.
well in judo and keep up the good work.
Thank
We
you.
love it.
Thank you. Ciao,
And Merry
ciao.
Christmas to everyone.
You too. All right. Rohini, you next. How are you, lovely?
Hi, how are y'all doing today?
We're doing
Hello?
good.
Merry
Can
Christmas,
you hear me?
everybody. Yes. Can you hear me?
Lovely to see you. Yes, can hear you fine.
Okay, so let me get through my notes really quick. Okay. You know, when she talked about her miscarriage, it really hit home for me. You know, because I've had four, and it's not easy to deal with, and to
Oh,
to know for sure where it was coming from. And I really, if I was Harry, I wasn't going to give them any disclaimer. I was going to say, yes, you caused it. You understand?
yeah,
Playing out. I wasn't going to give
yeah.
them an out. I was going to say, because he know that it's there. When it comes to the queen, I would not be surprised if years down the road, decades, that we find out that this part in her life, that she wasn't all there.
Mm,
Because you hear that a lot. You know, you hear about leaders in their last days, and there's a documentary, and then you find out that they were, being maintained, that the country was being run by somebody else. So I would not be surprised if there's a documentary in like 10 plus years that tells us, listen, the queen had Alzheimer's for, for over a decade. I wouldn't be shocked at all. um Oh God, I have to go. Don't knock me out. I have a call.
all right, all right. We will put Rohini back later. Slick, hello.
Hi, Anna. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Okay, you sound like a new voice.
No, I've been on your show before. I spoke to the last
Oh,
time I
okay.
spoke about the royal insiders and these courtiers and things like that. That what who fiction that generates stories and plant stories and things like that. And that's been revealed in the
Oh,
documentary as well.
all right.
Can you
Well,
hear me?
I love to hear. Yeah, love to hear a Mel Squaddy every now and again. So welcome.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to bring some balance because it's been all female all through. But I just wanted to make
Okay.
some key observation. I think most of the things that Harry was saying was true, and the British society know that the things that this man was saying was very true, but they can't bring themselves to look in the mirror. For example, he says the women that marry into the family go through a tough time. And when the first documentary came out, he was berated
Mhm.
for like mentioning that. And then a few of the commentators will say, "Oh, but Kate has been through that. Diana's been through it. Camilla has been through it. Why can't Meghan go through it?" Meaning that they are also admitting what Harry was saying, and yet targeting Harry for saying that. And it doesn't make it.
Mhm.
It always conflating. Like one in one breath, they're saying, "Oh, everybody else has gone through it," and the other breath they are saying Harry is trying to tarnish the monarchy by making references to such statements. Another thing that I also observed is the covert racial attitude towards black people and people of color in this country. I notice when people go on panel shows, for example, Good Morning Britain and shows like that, when it's an all-white panel, there's a different way in which they speak, and when there's a black person present and in the discussion, their consciousness about or the things that they utter in the presence of a black person then changes, which means that in itself, when it's an all-white panel, they are free to say whatever they want to say. But if there's a black person, if you watch all the morning shows, for example, if there's a black person present on the panel, all these white people kind of have a fear of what they want to say or how they say what they are thinking,
Mhm.
and it comes out for me.
Mhm.
I see that as an unconscious bias because when the black person is not there, you're free to say whatever you want to say. But when there's black person present, then you start to kind of quote what you're saying in a nice way so you don't cause an offense. And Harry
Mhm.
just projects that the monarchy, the royal family are not used to people of color in their presence. Been a TikTok video when Prince Charles was doing his walkabout. He was greeting all the white fellas in the queue. When he gets to the black person, he skips the black person unconsciously. It's not something that like you could tell that, oh, it was not the natural thing for him to do, so he just skipped the black person unconsciously, and the cameras picked that up. And that's just a projection of like somebody who's been um, given so much privilege and has not really mingled with people
A
from different
diverse group of
backgrounds.
people. Yeah.
Yes, but it's yes, you meet them on ceremonial occasions. You can have conversations, but it's not your day-to-day experience. So you would not know how to actually, and subconsciously, you give out certain signals that you are not like you are not in control of, involuntary signals.
Mm.
And that's what
Mm.
Harry was trying to point out. He himself came to that conclusion. But the thing for Harry, because he spent time in Africa, he kind of understands that uh, in a different way compared to the rest of the family. Because he's been to
Yes.
Botswana several times, he's mingled with South Africans several times and things like that. So he can appreciate where um, where he's comfortable mingling with such people, whereas the rest of the family can, because they've never had such experiences.
Yeah.
And the last and final thing that
Mm.
I would say is that Harry, in years to come, will be vindicated, because when the
Yes.
royal family slip up, they will refer to this documentary. They will make
Yes.
references to quotes that Harry made during this year. But at the moment, they are being fed to the wolves at the moment. And one last thing, I just see how the society has also been programmed and conditioned to this myth and fantasy that people are holding on to. It's been in storybooks, The Prince and the Princess. It's been an indoctrination of the society for so long that it's coming to a point where it's like it's a clash of two cultures. The young generation
Mm.
and having been fed too much of that fantasy. They've been fed on video games and other stuff, and therefore can would and it's beginning to show. I mean, I was asking a question. Hello,
So you can everyone hear him, or is it just me? Okay, so it is yours. I think it is his sound
can you?
breaking up. I think your sound broke up at the
Yeah.
end
So
there, Slick.
yeah.
But thank you
So my last
so
point
much. You have
was the
made
fact that
some. Oh, I think you're cutting up a bit there, Slick, and it's definitely on your end. So
hello.
I'll take you off.
That's fine. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
leave it there.
all
All
right.
right.
But
Okay.
thank you so much. You were absolutely amazing. I think your points were brilliant, and it's great to hear from you. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that, folks. Bit of sound issues there. Okay, we'll go to. I think is it Udia Clitterhouse? Sorry if I've said your name wrong, doll. Udia, are you there? Oh dear, I don't know if it's your sound or can everyone hear Udia? Okay, maybe okay, if you just stay there, Udia, I might try a different caller, see if we can hear someone else. Flame, can we hear Flame?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear
Can
you,
you?
Flame.
Oh, you can. Okay. That was a very interesting caller. The gentleman, he brought up some really good points. Um,
Mhm.
Charles is a hard nut to crack. Charles, from Diana, he's lost my vote. But I think Harry did say when he was struggling the most, Charles is the one that took him to Africa. And that's when he fell in love with Africa and he started to heal. Also, Prince Mbutu, I don't know what the prince's name is that Harry started the Senegal charity with because they bonded over their both having mothers that died. But so he's right. Harry does not see black people as separate or beneath, just as his mother did not. But the others do, and he can see it in them. But I still think he thought once they met Meghan and saw that they would see how wonderful she was, and it would
Yes.
overrule. But he was wrong, and I think he realized it later after they were in the midst of hell. But I want to know what the English people are saying about the documentary. If they felt because one English reporter was saying that English people felt empathy for Meghan because of her miscarriage, and the threats against her life. Is that true, or is that just, or is it? Are the papers are still going at her? Probably, aren't they? The tabloids probably though. How is
I
it over
think I
there?
think I think it's a very mixed reaction depending on who's talking, the platform they're talking on, and what their angle is. So
Mm,
certainly, if you're if you're looking at the tabloid press, they're obviously ripping them to shreds. I think
mm,
the morning talk shows I think have been a little bit more pulled back than usual, but I'm pretty sure in a week's time they'll be back
mm,
to their normal nonsense. I think when it comes to the general public, it's very split down the middle.
mm. Is it more the young people are with them and the older people against them? Or is it not generational? Is it just like half and half? Is it more women than men, or you just can't tell?
I think it's difficult to tell, and I know that a lot of people say, oh, obviously the younger generation connects with Harry and Meghan more, but even on this channel, something like 30% of my listeners are 45 and above, and a lot of
Mm,
those people, I think, are people who remember the Diana years. So I
yes,
don't think it's just I don't think it's just a matter of oh, it's the young people that love Harry and Meghan. Yeah, a huge portion of them do, but I think the age range, the backgrounds are quite diverse in terms of those who
true.
support them.
Yeah, because I'm one of the ones that remember the Diana years.
Yeah,
So that's very true. That's very true. Harry just has so many of her qualities. And
yeah,
it just saddens me to look at the other one because he is so much like Charles, even a worse version of Charles, even. I mean,
yeah,
and he just seems miserable. Kate seems miserable. They seem bitter, the both of them. I
yeah.
don't know. I feel sorry for their babies. I don't know what their lives are gonna be like. I know they keep dragging them out every time Kate and William take a misstep. They drag those poor little babies out. You know what I
Mm,
mean? For publicity, So I don't know.
yeah.
I don't
But
know.
I
I
think
keep trying.
Uncle Harry has opened the door to hopefully escape as and when they're old enough to make that decision. But thank you so much, Flame.
Thank you. Thank you.
No worries. All right. Pass. Would you like to unmute your mic? PAS, Pass. Are you?
Hi,
Hi,
can
how
you
are
hear
you?
me? I'm fine. How about
Yeah,
you?
fantastic. Thank you for calling in.
No problem. I'm so happy I get to join live. Usually I'm at work, but it's great
Okay.
that I get to actually join and talk to you today.
Happy to have you.
So I mean, I had a whole list, but just listening to the other speakers, I guess other things have come up. I forgot what speaker you were talking to, but you ended by asking this question about why they didn't accept Harry and Meghan's willingness to give up the titles. Um,
Hmm.
and I actually have a thought on this. would love to hear your opinion about it. But I think that the reason they didn't want to is because they were hoping to convince Harry to leave Meghan.
Yes.
And the way that they
Oh, can everyone hear Pass? Can everyone hear Pass, or has she gone silent?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. I think you went silent. You said and the way that they and then you cut off. Hello. All right. Pass. I'm gonna mute you for a sec, and then I'll try and bring you back on after the next caller. Okay. So just stay there, and then we'll try again in a minute. Melissa, do you want to unmute?
Hello.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for calling in.
um I oh, hello everyone, by the way. How can I explain? I don't think everybody truly understands what Harry's actually done. As in, the destabilization of the empire is begun, and we come out the EU, we made ourselves poorer. The Scotland wants to leave. Wales wants to leave. The Commonwealths are asking for their money. They're also asking for some things back. The destabilization is already happening, and I don't think, and with this documentary, I think this boy has been planning for his freedom since his mother died. As he said, he he's been wanting to leave since his mother died. um he has he's definitely pulled the lid off absolutely everything. He's placed them in a position where they cannot come back and do what's the word? They can't come back and do like a statement, because there's nothing to do a statement about, because he's definitely he brought the receipts, and I think he studied where his mother went wrong, and he's done it right. And I think if his mother obviously had social media back in her day, I'm not saying that people didn't believe her and stuff, but there's a lot of things that she went wrong, and like staying in the country. But like, I understand why, because her babies were there, but she was too angry.
Yeah.
She couldn't let go. These two learned how to let go. But I don't think they truly. I don't think anyone. This is beyond pettiness. He's accelerated the destabilization, and I think the what's it called again, the right wing press they still don't understand what they've done. They don't understand protecting her meant protecting their empire, because it's symbiotic. So they've made the royal family look racist. They've made them look a whole lot of things, pedophilic, racist, and everything else. And everything they were trying to achieve is bounced back onto the royal family. Um, I'm happy that Harry. You can tell he's no longer going to be the spare. He doesn't want to play that role. At the same time, I think he could have gone deeper, but he didn't want to go deeper. He placed. It's just. I don't think people truly understand what this boy has done. He's. Yeah, and him and Meghan stepping away is basically, like I said, it's caused the destabilization. It's happening. The empire is coming to an end. It's happening. It's happening. It's like, for example, when it comes to Quebec or Canada, they're no longer going to be swearing allegiance to the king, the heirs, and the grace. It's already happening. And I think Beyonce was right when she sent that text messages. She was selected to break generational curses. She was selected.
Curses,
It
yeah.
was it was her fate. It was her destiny. If you look, like the way she writes, the way she was prepared. She was groomed for this, like from God. She was the one that was meant to come in to England and turn the light on, and that's why they didn't like her. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things. A lot of, oh God, a systematic things. That I can't explain it. I think there was an interview saying, her walking away has basically caused everybody to stop and think, because we've been conditioned to think that
Yeah.
empire,
This is a fairy tale.
exactly, she broke it the second she left.
Yeah.
And it's not even just that, not even the second she left, the second she came, because she came talking with hope and so on and so forth. They didn't want her to educate Black people to have a stronger mind, to think in a certain way. Because if you look at our television programs, we don't have Black middle class TV shows. We don't have, because like that's what I said, like TV is very powerful. They only have television shows that are about white people in a white person's world. They don't have, it, it's like things, even the news, everything's is completely the same. I don't, I can't explain it, but what this woman has done, it's powerful. What these two have done with this documentary, wow. It's and I don't think people will understand until maybe 10 years to
Years
come.
from
But
now, yeah, and we
yeah,
reflect on it. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like,
But thank you. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Melissa.
it's okay. Bye.
Yeah. Have a great evening. Bye.
You too. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Right. Pass. I'll try you again.
Okay, hopefully it works this time.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Go on. Yeah, go on.
Okay. All right. So I don't know where I was up to, but I guess I'll start from the beginning. So the reason I think that they didn't want to take back the title is because I think that they were going to convince him, or they were going to certainly try to convince him to leave Meghan and possibly leave the kids, or Archie at the time. And hopefully by then he'll
Oh no, I think she's gone again, hasn't she? Guys, can you hear Pass or not? Or has she gone again? Oh, okay, I think. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Try again. Okay, I'm sorry, Pass. I'm gonna have to take you out. But I do agree with the point that you were trying to make. Perhaps the reason they didn't take the titles was because they wanted to, or they were hoping that Harry would essentially come back into the fold, but that clearly hasn't happened. Okay, so we've got is it Zagon de la Croix? Am I saying that
Just call
right?
me Z. Yeah, just call me Z.
Z.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So,
calling in, Z.
yeah, long time listener, first time decide to do this. I think the stars are aligned today for me because it's a cold, rainy day in New York, and I'm just doing laundry. And I was listening to you, and I said, let me just sit down and just do this. So anyway,
Well,
I'm ringing.
first of all, sorry, can I just say I'm so honored that you're calling in all the way from New York. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. So I want to just heap praise on the production value of this documentary. And because nobody, I'm looking at it from a technical point of view. So I just love the storytelling, the editing, and it's very, very high production value. And if you look at this, if you like movies by Merchant Ivory, are you familiar with that production team?
No, I'm not.
Mer-
What movies have they
Merchant
made?
Ivory, Howard's and Morris, Room with a View.
Oh, I know
You
Room
know,
with View. Yeah.
yeah. Well, if you look at those, the Merchant Ivory productions, those timepieces, those movies, those set timepieces. The production is very reminiscent of that, and especially the musical composition. I don't know if you had a chance to really appreciate the theme music of the Harry and Meghan docu series, but it evokes that sort of production, and I wouldn't be surprised that this documentary is nominated for an Oscar and possibly win. And I'm really hoping for that because it's just fantastic, fantastic. So that's where
Well,
I mean,
thank
I'm not
you.
going to go into I won't go into the story and all that because everyone's doing that. But
Yeah.
I don't have
Oh,
anything much addition to say. But I like the production there and the theme music. And
oh no,
I'm an old time.
thank you.
Yeah.
So you're gonna say you're
No, I was saying I'm an old time squad. I mean, this getting me up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch this documentary made me get takes me back to the days when they were going on tour of and you're getting up or you're staying up late just to catch the tour live. It's just fantastic because I enjoyed the Sussex tours. I mean, you really learn things and they really pulled you and it was so compelling and it was fantastic. And I remember initially being very frustrated because I used to be on YouTube, well, still on YouTube, fighting people, all this anti-Meghan, anti-Harry, anti-Sussex stuff, and I thought I was alone. And then I discovered Sussex Squad on Instagram, not Instagram, Twitter. And so, like I said, I mean, we or OG squad's been fighting this for a long time, but I'm just usually in the background slaying trolls until Twitter banned me for abuse because I was just, I was like, take no prisoners. You're getting blasted. So I think I've learned to be a little bit more cautious with blasting trolls and everything, so I don't get banned or anything. But I listen to you guys, and I like your shows and everything. And you might have seen my name. I tend to come correct stuff like a cake was cut with a sword, and stuff like that. That's me in the background. So I'm sorry if you think I'm being pedantic or overcorrecting, but I listen to okay, no, this has to be corrected. But hope you don't
oh,
take
thank you.
offense
No,
at that.
no,
All right.
it's highly appreciated, and thank you actually for making that point against about the song and the productions and everything, because a lot of people have made mention about that on Twitter. I think people have even started making like Spotify playlists, trying to get all the songs together. And yes, the overall production was pretty amazing. I don't know if it would win an Oscar though, because it's a series, maybe like an Emmy or I think Golden Globe.
No,
Don't they have an award for TV documentary, or is that for film documentary?
no, Netflix has been nominated for documentary by the Oscars before. Liz Garbus
Okay.
hasn't been nominated. Yeah, so yeah, there is that
Okay.
category.
Well, I think
Yeah,
fingers are crossed.
yeah, fingers crossed, hopes are high. All right, cheers from New York. I'm gonna go
There.
back and do laundry now. Okay,
All
bye, Ann.
right. Thank you so much, Z. Bye bye. Wow, the squaddies are the coolest. The other day I was looking through the responses to the replay yesterday, and somebody said that they were listening from Mauritius. And that's what I just love about this community, how freaking global it is. All right. Right. You Dia, we'll try you again. Are you there? Okay, she's not there. So we're gonna try Rita.
Okay. All right. Hi.
Hi,
Can you hear
hi
me?
Rita. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear
I'm
you,
calling
Rita.
from Toronto, Canada. So I'm in Canada now.
Hello from Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto. So I have a few points that I just wanted to make with this documentary. Just to piggyback at the guy who spoke from New York. This is a very, very highly done documentary, unless you want some stupid drama or something that you want to see something. But these Harry and Meghan did a lot of insight. It's just little snippets that you really have to think forward and see and connect things. I think that's how they did it. They didn't need to put out so much, but they just put few things for you to, identify things that were being done. So if you really think deeply into the thing, you will see exactly what they've done. here in Canada, we stop swearing allegiance to the Queen and to the King, so that thing is not going to happen. People are already starting to even lobby the government to say that, we just want out of this Commonwealth nonsense. Anyway, that's one point. And then the second point is a lot of people have been talking about the View and, US media. I think the View, those people, we shouldn't worry about them. They're just old people who have no, their ratings are all down. So they're just using Meghan to get some clicks and whatever they're trying to do. And then I think the US media also, they want to get access to the coronation. So some of them are just playing games back and forth. It's not really something that they are really into it. I don't think so. So for me, I just even don't listen to that noise and that kind of stuff. But there's something that bothers me a little bit. Black women. I mean, I hear black women. It's not white people sometimes. Black women and people of color are some of the people who really go against Meghan a lot of times. There's a show on Fox that comes on my Facebook feed. I even deleted them. But Vivica Fox, and there are 5 ladies. Vivica Fox and Lisa Ray. I don't know if anybody's seen them. They talk. The way they talk, oh, it was overrated. It was too much. It was showing too much. But they've forgotten that they are black women. I just worry so much about the fact that black women are the ones who are really coming up and saying all these things against Meghan. Look, she had some privilege because she's light-skinned, which is also colorism, something that is already another topic that we have to talk about. But that half drop of blood that she has in her as a black person, some black women really bring her down, and it really, really bothers me. I don't know if you've thought about it. Anne, have you thought about that? Yeah, you know what I mean?
I mentioned this on the podcast right after the documentary aired.
Yeah.
I said that a lot of Meghan's haters are diverse. It's not just racist people at all. It's like some people in the black community have really tried to bring her down.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the first, I think the third episode, the first series, the third episode, she was talking about the way she wasn't treated like a black person until she knew what she got in the US, but they highlighted it even more when she went to when she came to UK, and some people were so mad at her. That's her experience. People didn't even know who she was. She's very ambiguous. For me, even when I saw her, I'm like, she looks Spanish to me. If look at her very well, she looks so ambiguous. So it's not that she's saying that she doesn't want to be a black person. She knows who she is. Look at her mom. Yeah. Look at her grandmom, and all her uncles. She knows who she is. And she has come out already to talk about the fact that people were saying racist stuff and they didn't know who she was because she looked ambiguous until she showed her mom, before people got to know, oh my God, she's a black person. And there are so many people like that in our community that look like her, but we don't know whether they are black or not until they say it. So when people came after her, I'm like, you guys have to think. Anyway, that's one of the points. I don't want to waste too much time. I also think about what the Commonwealth. Look, I come from Ghana, and we are one of the people that these British people came to colonize us. F.Y. Hesh made a comment. She said, this is colonialism 2.0, and people were mad about her. It is true. They are still trying to resource our stuff, but trying to say, oh, you are part of our families. So I'm just thinking how our Commonwealth, especially the people with black and brown people, the people in the Commonwealth, how are they looking at the royal family now, the way they see, this documentary and things are coming out. I'm trying to see how. And we should think about this. I come from Africa. I come from Ghana. I'm talking to my people back home, asking them questions like, guys, what do you think? People are really mad, but are they coming to bring it across for us to address these things to, come forward? I don't know. It's something that we can think about. And you are from Zambia or where?
Yeah.
Zambia. Yeah. Okay.
Zambia, yeah.
And then there's one lady called Erica Cobbs. I don't know if I sent it to you, Anne. I don't know whether you watch your DMs. I sent it to you. She's really good. And she's somebody, she's on Daily Blast. I don't know if you know her, Erica Cobbs. I sent it to you, Anne, on your DMs. She analyzes, she's a black woman. And she's the one who said, I think her videos, one of them went viral. That when she said, everybody's trying to, say something to, and then because they are tripping, I don't know if you remember. Her name is Erica Cobbs. Check her out. She really, really praises Meghan, and she's the one who's fighting for her. She's the one black person that I've seen on a podcast that she's really helping Meghan, talking about this, that we should really, really, she says we should protect Meghan. We have to protect Meghan and Harry. So she's one of those girls, those people that you can check her out. She's very good, Erica Cobbs. So these are, yeah. And with Harry, I think they ganged up on him and made him look stupid at that time when he went to see his dad and William. They really ganged up on him, and that made him so small. But look at him now. He's going to really rise above this. So that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Rita. Thank you. Right. Okay. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 callers left, and I'm not going to take any more. So please do not enter the chat now. I'm just going to take who's on the stage. All right. You didn't get to talk today. You'll get to talk on like next Friday. But those of you who are on the stage, you will be the last ones. So we'll go educate you, VZ, Simon, Lily, and then we'll end with Rohini. Okay. Educate you.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. How are you?
Fantastic. Yourself?
Okay. It's good to hear. I'm glad that you're doing well. I hope everybody is doing well. I wanted to but we spoke about this before, about the raven, the myth.
Oh yes.
Right.
Harry's a raven.
Harry and Meg, they're the ravens. And the whole thing is that the whole family is caught there because their wings have been clipped. But her wings weren't clipped. So that's how he left out. And they're looking at these birds, and it's not, that was just a metaphor because the real ones already left. And then, like the other previous caller was talking about how it's all being dismantled. The countries, they want their independence back, away from the Commonwealth, and they want their jewels back. They want, all of these things are happening, and they really can't stop it because it's their time. Their time is up to a certain degree. And also, when the gentleman was talking about the playlist, you talked about the playlist of all the songs that were in the documentary. And I have a playlist also, and it's Duchess of Success, because your music is really nice. And if you listen to the words, I'm into music, but I'm really into the lyrics. And you choose some very, very inspirational music.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. Yeah, it goes with what you're doing. And about that music, because it almost broke my heart. The last one, Nancy Wilson. And my mom and my dad, I lost both of them in 2018, a week apart. And that was my mom's favorite artist. And I'm really not.
Is this the black guy?
Yes.
The one who
the gentleman who called from New York.
No, the artist that you're talking about.
Oh no, it's Nancy Wilson. Yeah. My love has no beginning, my love has no end. Oh.
Okay.
That was my mother's, that was their theme song. And like, I'm not like an emotional person, but when that happened, that made me cry. Because I know how they felt about each other. My parents, and they would sing that and they would dance to that, and it's like, wow, the music that they're choosing, it goes with what they're saying.
Yeah.
And it's really a great production. It really is.
It is.
Especially when you do black and white. Black and white is so powerful, It does something. It brings drama.
It does.
And it brings drama to the parts that they wanted it to be dramatic. It was in black and white. And the thing, when she went to the UK, that whole time that Piers Morgan said he met her, she was at the bar. She didn't mention anybody. She talked about her friends.
Yeah.
because you wouldn't. That never happened. Because if that had ever happened, he would have pictures of that. That never happened.
Exactly.
It never happened.
Exactly.
He never met her. He never had a drink with her. Nothing. Because all of those bars, they're all paid to get pictures. You know what I'm saying? Because they all work together. Because how would when they used to catch Harry coming out the pub drunk, how did they know? Somebody's in there to call. Just like here in the United States, there are people at restaurants who are going to call into TMZ and let them know, oh, so and so is here. You know, everybody's getting paid from what they're doing to them, or
Yeah.
what they're
So
doing
how is it
even
that
to
we never have
celebrities.
a picture of him and Meghan?
Yes, and he has a picture with everybody from Epstein to everybody else. You got a picture with everybody, but you don't have a picture with this woman who so-called was kind of like chasing you. You know?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
yeah. So that never happened. And then when they're talking about, because she didn't, she wasn't treated like she was a black woman. I have, all right, I'm a little fairer than you are. My side of the family is the dark side of the family. I have family members who have passed, blonde hair, green eyes, gray eyes, all of that. I have grandchildren who are very fair. And you are treated different because that was something that was put on it, that colorism, which is really a caste system, but it happens. I have a granddaughter who raised hell in school, and they just kept letting her go and letting her go and letting her go. And I'm telling her, I said, the only reason they're doing it because you're fair, you're fair skinned, you're pretty, all of these things, but in the end, it's going to destroy you because you're just getting over on that, and when that goes away, what do you have? So because we kind of hit a brick wall with that one. But it's in LA, they don't understand. United States is a huge country. The West Coast is totally different from the East Coast. The West Coast has a lot of Asians, people from the South Pacific, Mexico, the Philippines. It's so diverse, and LA is diverse, and they come from all over the world to work in that industry, to work in different parts of that town.
Yeah. So it
And we're the
naturally would have
only.
been a very different experience for Meghan overall.
Yes, but you seen the pictures who she went to school with? She speaks fluent Spanish. This is who she went to school with, and it's like to come out and to be so blatant, like she heard the person call her mother the N-word. That was her first time hearing that, and being in the car with her mother. But a lot of people in her mother's generation and a little younger, they didn't teach their children about that because that was pounded into you. Oh, just get over it. Just get over it. Stop talking about it. Just move forward. And a whole generation did that.
Yeah.
But now their children are experiencing these things now with all this backlash that we're having here with immigration and history and all the rest of that. But it was told to you, just drop it, move on, don't live in the past, right? But then you found out that the past is still here. It didn't go anywhere. You're still being treated that way. It's just being done in a different way.
Yeah, and I guess
And
she really saw the worst of it when she came to the UK unfortunately. But thank you so
yes.
much, Educate You.
Okay. All right. Guys, have a great holiday and a good new year. And
You
we can be
too.
doing we'll do our reading circle in January.
Oh yes, for the spare. Yes, fantastic.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. All right. Vezi B, do you want to come up?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Vezi. How are you? Yeah, I can hear you. How
Hi.
are you?
Oh my God, this is the first time I call. I usually don't catch you live, and you are live. So okay, I
Okay.
usually watch your replay. But okay, so
Well,
I
thank you
just want
so
to
much
say
for
three
calling in.
things. Yes, thank you. I like your show, and I'm like the gentleman who called. I've been following you for a while.
Oh,
um.
thank you.
Okay, so three things I want to talk about. The first thing, it really broke my heart when she was talking about her miscarriage because, oh my God, that's awful.
Mm.
And the thing that Harry said about what that he was not, he felt like he was not, I don't know if he said protecting her because he was still kind of thinking in protecting the institution instead of being a husband. So that really,
Mm.
I cannot imagine what Meghan had felt. I have nobody else in this place. I'm in a strange land. The only person I trust is this person, and he's not quite there protecting me because Harry said he was still kind of thinking about the family, the institution. So that really broke my heart, and that made me really sad. The next thing I want to
Mm.
say it's about Thomas Markle. I really think that the press, and maybe even William, I don't want to just. This is just a speculation. I feel that maybe they paid him not to go to the wedding, to back to back away, to say that he was sick, to say that he can't go, to hope that somehow the wedding will be postponed, that will somehow it would dissolve and Harry won't marry Meghan. That's just what I
Well,
think.
there's definitely something going on with Thomas Markle because another question that I think many people have, and I think actually over the weekend, either on Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to do a completely separate podcast where I specifically talk about unanswered questions from the documentary, and one of those is why is it when Meghan sent the letter, she sent it to LA, sent it, and then it then got sent to Mexico, and then someone intercepted it. It wasn't his signature when he got the letter. So who signed that letter? Who intercepted the letter? And if Meghan was also suspicious that the person who was texting her was not Thomas, so who intercepted his phone? Um, you know, did Thomas know that person? Like there was definitely something going on Thomas's side, and someone else was in, other people were involved.
Yes, I really think this is just a gut feeling. I'm thinking they were trying so hard to get everybody, even Ashling, just everybody to isolate her so that way somehow the wedding wouldn't happen. And by
Mm.
getting to the dad, somehow maybe they will postpone and they will do more stuff so that way the wedding wouldn't happen. So this
Mm.
whole narrative, this whole attack against Meghan, I think it started just when everything came out in public, where when everybody knew that Harry was dating Meghan. I think it just escalated as the wedding got closer, and when they became popular, oh my God, they were just like, oh, it's just awful. I just cannot. It's just awful. I just feel bad for Meghan, but I'm glad there are people speaking out in behalf of her, like us, like you, like Baron, which I also follow. And the last point I want to talk about, because I want to get out of here, because I know there were people waiting. So about Diana's death. This makes me think that her death, I don't want to just, again, it's just a gut feeling that they were trying hard to get her out of the way. They're not going to say it. They're not, because there's a lot of mystery surrounding her death. And I think she needed to go away, like they want to do with Meghan, for Charles to marry freely
Camilla. Mm.
Camilla. That's just the way I think. Just seeing how how the press and the institution are so vicious to try to get rid of somebody. I would not be shocked that they had to do something with her death. Because what would it look like if Charles had married Camilla while Diana was still alive? So
Mm.
this is, to me, this is just to me, I think seeing what's happening with Meghan, it just makes me think they did this to her. They did this to Diana, and they want to do the same thing to Meghan, which I hope it never happens. And I'm so glad they moved to the US in California, which I am in California. I'm so glad um, that they're here, because I hope they are safe here.
Yeah, definitely a lot more safe than they would be in the UK. But thank you so much, Feezy,
Yeah.
for calling in.
Well, thank you, and I'm so glad I was able to catch in. This is the first time calling too. I usually don't call in.
Oh,
I decided to call in. Yeah.
thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, it's gonna go Simon, Lily, then Rohini. Sorry, one sec, folks. All right, Simon. Hello, Simon, you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Simon.
Hello. Oh, okay. This is
Hi.
my first time of. Hi, hi. This is my first time of joining. Getting to know your channel. But I'm a squaddy. I've been on Twitter for some time now. Earlier on this year, and I'm calling from Ghana. Hello.
Oh, welcome from
Yeah,
Ghana. Thank you for
yeah,
calling in.
yeah. Yeah, so I also kind of have the same experience with the brother from New York. I also was on YouTube some time ago and came across a lot of hate channels, and I was wondering. So in the beginning, I ignored, but it got to a point. It really got to me. So just like the brother from New York, I also went into the comment section to counter comment, and it felt really lonely because the only positive comments for Meghan and Harry were very few. So I also thought, I also thought I was in this alone. And at some point in time, it became mentally exhausting. And then by accident or by chance, it came across the Squaddy community on Twitter, and I've been part of it. I think since earlier on this year. So about the docu series, I really loved every bit of it. I loved the opening theme. I think they did a very good job in telling their story. They have every right to. And I get frustrated at people who always say that they are talking too much and that they should keep quiet. I mean, it's so annoying. They have every right. Even in cases that go to court, we have legal cases or litigation that goes on for years. I did study a bit of law, so there's a principle in law which says that we should always hear the other side. It is a very fundamental and essential rule or principle in law, which is part of natural justice. So the way these people go on and on against them, sometimes it just becomes too much, and they always come with this excuse that the royal family can't defend themselves. I mean, nobody is telling them to keep quiet. They came up with this stupid rule, this nonsense of stiff upper lip. So they can unsubscribe from it. If William wants to unsubscribe, he can do it. I don't see a padlock on his mouth. What is stopping them from talking? And always, and this their royal routers and reporters coming out to speak for them on their behalf, saying that it's unfair and they can't defend them. Who is stopping them? Where in the UK law does it say that the royal family should go by that stupid rule? I mean, oh, they should just give us a break. So for me, the docu series, I really loved every bit of it, and I wish they could have given us a bit more, drop some names. But obviously, we can connect the dots. And for me, I think William was the one who asked about Archie's skin color. And you know what? When I saw the picture of Archie, I honestly, nobody should come for me. I love my color. I love being a black person as an African. But because of the vitriol that was out there, I was like, oh, thank God this baby is not that black, in terms of complexion, because it would have been a totally different thing. Even the baby had not been born yet. Look at what they were saying, and just a few days or weeks, just look at what they did. The picture with the chimp. I mean, how on earth? I really follow a lot of news and geopolitics and all that, and to some extent, I really believed that the UK was much better when it comes to race. But with what has happened, to Meghan, it tells a different story. I know it's quite subtle, but they are racist as the word racist, or even more, even probably more than the US. I mean, And I agree with my sister from Toronto. We need to reevaluate this whole Commonwealth thing, because the Queen and the royal family have used as the Commonwealth as props for so long. This is just a new form of neo colon, colonization. Yes. And even to me, we don't have anything to think about. We should just disband, just walk away from this. Because if they're able to do this to Meghan, one who is one of us, she's not Ghanaian, but she's African. She's our sister. And this goes for every person of color in this entire world. I don't have personally stories of race, but I have relatives, I have friends who have gone through that. And their stories are also terrible. You get me? So we don't have anything to think about. We should just walk away from this nonsense. Because who has even benefited from this Commonwealth? Is it not them? They have benefited from this whole thing more. You see, so we have to just walk away from all this nonsense. And they have to do right by us. They must pay the reparations in some form, if not everything, in some form. And I think stories have come out, some stories are out there in relation to the Netherlands, and Germany. This writer who is very brilliant, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I don't know if some of you know her,
Oh yes,
but she's
of course.
yes.
Oh yes.
She went to a
Love
conference in
Chimamanda.
Germany and she spoke. Yes, she spoke to them that they need to do right by us. They need to return all the artifacts and things that they stole from us. And then not long ago, Germany did that. They returned the bronze statues to Nigeria. Netherlands has also decided to pay their former colonies about $204 million in reparations. And even the Dutch king has decided to stop using his Golden State coach. They have one. And at the sides of the Golden State coach, there's a painting, this decorated with this Renaissance painting of these white slave masters being served by slaves. And because they had that serious and difficult conversation in the Netherlands, he decided to stop using it. And he also came out with the other initiative. So Britain must learn. They even stole from their own people, their own cousins or siblings, the Greeks, the Greek marbles, and they have been fighting since then to return it, but they refuse. Everything there in the British Museum is stolen, and they have to do right. They have to return every damn thing. They have to do that. And the way they treated Meghan, they tried to break this woman, but thank God, this didn't happen. And I am a person of faith. I'm a Christian. All those who are out there who are listening, try every time, if you know you're a person of faith, say a prayer for this too. Because honestly, the devil comes in many forms, is fighting this marriage. You see, she has suffered. And mind you, Meghan is related to a Harry, per what the genealogy said. I mean, almost everybody in that family that marries into that family is somehow related. If you go dig deep, one way or the other. So if they're able to do this to sort of one of their own, then this should send a signal to every person of color, whether in the Caribbeans, in the Commonwealth, all over. Maya Angelou said something. She said, how did she even put it? I think she said, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first
Believe
time.
them. Yeah.
Yes. I've watched at some point in time. I used to, because Daily Mail, I didn't even know. I got to know a lot of things when I joined the Squaddy community. Though I wasn't a fan of Daily Mail. That was the only go-to newspaper that I could get some royal news about them. The issue of them of the British press saying that they wanted to raise Archie privately. They didn't want him to have title. It was all nonsense. They were all lies. They were all lies. And when I watched the Oprah interview, that's how I got to know that they used Harry and Meghan to shield other members of the royal family. So they were the victims. So the whole nonsense about Harry wanting and Harry and Meghan wanting to raise Archie as a privacy was all a lie. Before we got to know that they were changing the convention. I think one of my aunts told me, I don't know how true that is, but she said something that when Meghan married into the family somebody said that since a black person has married into the royal family and will probably give birth, it will take several generations to wipe that blackness out of the family because they believe in the blue blood, that blue blood nonsense. And I don't see the reason why spares should be treated. And mind you, there are other people who have also been victims before Meghan in this family. You guys should Google William of Gloucester. He was Prince Charles' cousin. He
Oh,
he
is this
was
the
the
one
one
that
that
died in
William.
the plane crash, right?
Yes, yes. He
Yeah,
also wanted
yeah.
to marry an American divorcee, Zuzu Starcroft, and she had a child. And what did they do to him? I mean, come on, this is not conspiracy theory. This is even the Queen had to send Margaret all the way to Japan. And mind you, this is a guy who was a pilot, flew across, those days, those propeller planes, flew all the way from the UK. Of course, definitely he made stops from the UK to Japan in bad and good weather. Nothing happened to him, only for him to come back to the UK and fly a short distance during an air show, and for him to die just like that. Even when he died, they had to hide his death from his father. Not to talk of even what happened to Margaret, and of course Diana. Everybody, I'm here. We all know. I never knew Diana like that. I knew her later, through reading and all that, documentaries. Everybody, those who were old and at that time, they know that she was definitely killed. This is not a conspiracy theory. David Icke, a former BBC journalist, has come out to. You can call him whatever you want. But look, this is not rocket science. This is common sense. The dots are there. There are several documentaries that come out with such so
sorry, I do have to let you go so that the next caller can come on. But thank you so much.
okay okay.
But thank you so much, Simon. You made some really really good points there, and it's for the Commonwealth, it's going to come down to, I guess, the individual countries. Many of whom are deciding whether or not they want the Queen as the head of state. Barbados has said no, Jamaica saying no, but it's down to those individual countries now to decide, are we going to move on from all of this or not. But thank you so much, Simon. Right, Lily, we're going to go Lily and then Rohini. But Lily, you have to take the camera off. Just put audio. Yeah, so you should. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lily.
Oh my God, am I on? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. This is my first time calling in, but I've been listening to you since you started your YouTube. I have a few
thank you
points
so much,
to
Lily.
make. Yes, I have a few points to make. We are told to believe the victim, correct? So, and there is evidence that people are trying to
Lily, I think have you gone silent? Can everyone
hear me
Lily?
now? Can you
Okay,
hear
I can
me?
hear you now. Go on. Yeah.
Okay, so what I am saying is she's on the docu-series saying that there's been a death threat to her life, correct? So what I am saying is, why are we hung up on nonsense when someone's life is in jeopardy? So no one is talking about the fact that she's crying, paranoid about somebody breaking in, something bad happening to her, but they're focused on other things.
It's because they're trying to deflect from that. They're trying to deflect from her humanity. Lily, I think you've gone silent again.
Can you hear me now?
Lily?
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, is there something wrong? Is there something wrong with the mic?
No, for some reason my phone is getting off. But what I want to say is, why I'm Ethiopian. I came to this country when I was 11. I didn't know there was any type of racial issues until I started corporate America. Okay, so there are some of us that even look black that's never experienced the black experience, let alone someone that looks like her. Correct? I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. My family was affluent, so we didn't experience it. So if I'm telling you I didn't experience it, we as a black people, why can't you believe me?
Mm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, she experienced racism when she did. It doesn't make, she
Mm.
didn't deny the fact that she was black. And I find it very hurtful that us as black people are not 100% behind her. And
Mm.
we fall for the propaganda of the general public, and they use us to defame, like, Barack Obama or Meghan Markle. The reason I resonated with Meghan Markle is because she is a reflection of my experience in the U.S. I thought if I
Yeah.
went to school, got all good grades, and behaved well, straightened my hair, dressed properly, I was just going to be as equal as everybody else. But I didn't.
Mm.
So we all walk a different path to get to where we need to get at the end of the day,
Mm.
you know?
And
And my third
isn't that
point,
what Megan said at the end? She said that it wasn't. She did all of this and it still wasn't good enough. But go on.
that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, though, the other point I'm trying to make in life, when you have kids and you treat one better than the other, or you put all your hope in one and neglect the other, the one you neglect is the one that's going to be more successful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what happened to Will and Harry. You know what I mean? So just like even Charles and Anne. Anne is better than Charles, but they made him feel like he's gonna be king. He's on top of everything else, so he never had to work on anything, not his character, not his emotion. So they crippled them, thinking that they were helping them.
Mm-hmm.
But they try to cripple Harry, but in the other hand, they helped him because he found himself because nobody was giving him an attention.
Mm.
So for me, going forward, I will no longer fight with these people that have hate for Meghan and Harry. I can't. What I'm going to do and ask for everybody in this.
Oh, I think clearly, I think you cut out again. But thank you so much for the points that you made, Lily, and thank you to everyone who has come on today. You've all been amazing. Some great points made. We are going to end with Rohini. Please take us out. Where do we go from here, Rohini?
Where do we go from here? Only up. Can
Mm.
you hear me? Only,
Mm-hmm.
only up from here. I had my little notes and everybody was just seeing everything that I said. So I was just ticking it off as I go along. And I think we should end with a little light note.
Mm-hmm.
When Tyler Perry talks about the stripper pole, in my mind, I was like, I could see Megan using that as like a wonderful centerpiece, decorative. That's the first thing that came to my. And but of course, Harry's gonna be trying to build. Either he's gonna build something for Archie to climb on, or Megan is gonna use it as a centerpiece. Like I'm like, but what could she do with it though? You understand? In my mind, and Megan would rock that leopard print. Oh my goodness, we'd all be using leopard print in our bedrooms after that, because we know she's that stylish. You understand me? At this point, I was really hoping for that. It's marvelous. It's marvelous. Like I'm looking for a stripper pole myself. She should have really put it. Let's see what happened. I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
Whatever lights you up
Um,
inside.
I know, because she's making the balloon thing. That's a perfect pole for the balloon. Look at that. Look at that. Um, but just one last thing. It's interesting that there's this trope now. Harry, he could never come back. He will never be forgiven. Why is it that they always ask the abused to feel remorse? How does that make
Forgive.
sense?
Yeah.
How are you
Yeah.
asking the abused to feel remorse? And this is a question I have for all the the derangers out there, because I would probably call myself a royalist, but they're deranged. What are they going back to? That's my question.
Yeah.
What are they going back to? Because it wasn't good enough. We've seen what he's explained to you exactly what he faced. What
Yeah.
are they going back to? There's nothing worth going back. So for me,
Exactly.
I do not see them going back for anything. I don't see them, I don't even see them going for the coronation. And at this point, I hope they don't go back, but they probably will. They probably will.
Yeah, because
As
they didn't speak ill when I realized that they didn't particularly say anything bad about Charles in the documentary, it did make me then wonder, are they going to go back for the coronation? That they might.
yeah, yes, and for FYI, two things that people need to know. One, Meghan is the only person on planet Earth that have dedicated hate channels on YouTube towards her. Putin doesn't have that. Kim Jong Un doesn't have that. She's the only human being that have that. You could talk about, people that might spend a lot of time talking about one person, like some of the, more racist channels, but they focus on a whole lot of other people. She's the only one that have channels just to
For
hate
her.
on her. I have checked.
Yes.
We've looked. She's the only one. And this idea of swapping stories all the way back in 2011, there was a documentary where they said explicitly, of course they swap stories. This is how it's done. And the lesser royals, like Prince Harry, is always the scapegoat. That was all the way back in 2011. Because as again, I'm a royalist. I can tell you for sure. This is exactly what they do. So this is nothing new to anybody. But as I end, you guys get a stripper pole and use it as a centerpiece for Christmas. I'm just saying, if you don't have a Christmas tree, you understand me? You could
Get a
go
stripper
and
pole.
get a stripper pole, put some green garlands around that. Lauren is probably gonna do a video about it, how to decorate a stripper pole. I'm just saying, I'm waiting for it, Lauren. How you doing? You guys, Merry Christmas and stay safe.
Thank you, Rohini. Thank you for taking us out with that fantastic piece of advice. And yes, I'm sure Lauren will do a great video on that. Right. All of you, you have been amazing today. Great callers as always. Great conversation as always. I mean, I could probably do a whole 12-hour podcast just dissecting bit by bit every single last frame word that was said um of this series, because I don't even really think I've covered half of it the last 2 days. um but it's there, it will be there always. We can rewatch, we can refer back to it. And I think that the caller that said, this documentary series is, it's like the beginning of, you know a great shift in where the monarchy is. And for sure, there is a monarchy before Meghan and a monarchy after Meghan, and it never had to be this way. But I think this is, the universe has a plan, God has a plan. And I think the rejection of Harry and Meghan as a couple and Meghan as an individual, I think in the end it's the greatest blessing for them, for their children, even the other royal children, and even the other royals themselves, even though they can't see it now. They can't see it now because they're so wrapped up in jealousy, they're so wrapped up in their egos. But I think this is going to end up being a positive thing for everyone, because we really need to re-examine what the monarchy means in this modern age. And it cannot mean this. It cannot mean the future King of England briefing his buddies in a press to make headlines like this while the country is going through so much turmoil. But I've spoken enough today. Thank you so much, everyone. Wishing you a fantastic weekend, and we will pick up again. If I might not do a podcast if I don't do a podcast tomorrow, I'll definitely do one on Sunday. Okay. So enjoy your evening and enjoy your weekend, and see you soon. Ciao.
Love's for beginners, ain't no winners. It slips through your fingers. I ain't telling no lies. So F all the drama, F the karma. Just do what you wanna. Promise you got time. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no mama, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Come get your future. Know you wanna, she'll never betray ya. She ain't telling no lies. So break the glass ceiling, find your meaning, make truth out of dreaming. Yeah. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's mama, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's mama, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life.
I know you guys have played in front of a lot of celebrities, but what was it like to compete in front of royalty tonight? The Prince and Princess of Wales were in the building.
It was just a regular game to me.